Hi guys, my name is Laura and I lost 120 pounds in 10 months following a carnivore diet and utilizing fasting. That was back in 2018 and I have spent the last 7 years just trying to keep it off and not gain all my weight back. And obviously I share videos on the internet talking about our family's carnivore diet lifestyle, meals that we eat, kind of our grocery hauls, budget meals, like all of the different aspects of how we stick to a carnivore diet. And probably by far the number one question that I get is, how do you stay motivated? Or how do you avoid carbs? Or I'd love to try that, but I just can't give up the carbs. Or I keep falling off the wagon and going back to carbs. And it kind of all centers around motivation and people wondering, what is the secret sauce to staying motivated to lose weight and to keep it off long term? And I'm going to share with you a little secret. I have no motivation. I am the least motivated person that you will ever meet. Motivation only lasts so long. Motivation starts January 1st when we set New Year's resolutions, and it's gone by January 6th. By the time we hit that first weekend, by the time the first temptation, the first birthday, the first outing comes up, like motivation is gone, and it will not sustain you really to lose the initial weight, and certainly will not sustain you to keep it off long term. So what I want to share with you today is 4 very specific tactics that I use to help me bypass cravings, to avoid falling off the wagon, to kind of like muscle through those specific moments when it's feeling so hard to keep the carbs and the sugar out of your diet. And I will tell you, once I mastered, the first 3 are like short-term muscle you through this moment tactics. And once I mastered those 3, I was able to finally stick to a diet and start building momentum and losing weight in the first place. And it wasn't until I addressed the 4th reason I'm going to show you and the 4th tactic that I'm going to share that I was finally able to keep the weight off and stop regaining it every time I lost it again. So if that sounds like you at all, if you've ever struggled with this, watch this video and then share in the comments down below what other tactics have helped you also. Before I jump into those reasons, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by LMNT. LMNT is an electrolyte drink mix that comes in these like convenient little packets. And I will tell you that proper hydration and proper electrolyte balance is a huge part into keeping the cravings away and helping to make you feel your best so that you're able to stick to this and able to be active. And so these packets are this perfect ratio of sodium, magnesium, potassium, and I just throw them in my water first thing in the morning, and it really helps me just to feel my best throughout my day. And if you're not somebody who loves the unflavored mineral salty taste like I do, and you want something flavored, they also have some versions that are sweetened with stevia. They come in a variety of flavors from caramel, and they mix so well with coffee, all the way to our favorite, which is the lemonade salt. And this is gonna give you that nice, refreshing, something different that doesn't taste like water, and it's gonna help you to keep your water intake up and stay hydrated as you go about your day. LMNT has a deal for all my subscribers where you can get a free sample pack with any purchase. You can go to drinklmnt.com/LauraSpath or go to the link in the description. And they have a 100% money back guarantee. They have the best customer service. There is no risk at all. If you order with this link, you're gonna get that free sample pack. So thanks to LMNT for sponsoring this video. The first tactic I want to share is very much a like trick yourself, mental, reframe your brain kind of tactic. And our brains are so susceptible. Like, it's strange how we almost could trick ourselves. Like, I am very good at lying to myself, okay? I am very good in any situation. I lost my weight originally and I was working in an office every day, which means there was potlucks and cookies and fast food constantly. And, you know, I used to stop at a gas station every morning on my way to work and buy like $20 worth of snacks that I would hide in my desk and like eat between all my normal meals throughout the day, right? Or I would stop by Chick-fil-A on my way home every single day and get a milkshake for my drive home to have before dinner. So how do you start breaking those habits? And for me, a huge part of it was not telling myself, okay, you're on a diet, you can never have this again. Because the minute you tell me you can never have this again, is the minute that I go like, oh, I just need one more. I'm going to have it again. Like I start panicking and I need this thing one more time. And so for me, a huge tactic that helped me to overcome some of that initially, and something that I probably still use a lot, is a delay, or telling myself next time, or telling myself later. So especially in those early days when I was trying to break those habits, I would say like, oh, you know what? They always cater in this type of food. It'll next time. I could have it next time. And like you tell yourself and you convince your brain that it's not never, because never feels like so scary and we need to have it again. But you keep telling yourself like, you know what? Next time I'll stop by that gas station tomorrow. Like I was really good at muscling through one day, but like muscling through forever, it sounded impossible. But I could tell myself like, don't go there today. Like if you just don't buy the snacks today, you can have it tomorrow. And then guess what? Tomorrow me was pretty proud of myself for not giving into it yesterday. And tomorrow me was like, okay, I already did it for one day. Now I could just do it for 2 days. This was especially helpful for me because I was somebody who was always like crazy about like the limited edition holiday treats, like the limited edition Christmas stuff, or like Easter has by far the best candy, like the stuff that you can only get like seasonally, or some of these like dessert places that have this like marketing that's like scarcity marketing, where like you can only get it this week and then it's going to be gone. And this need to have it now it's why I was 263 pounds, because I was constantly giving into those things because I felt like it was my only chance to partake. But really telling myself like, hey, next time that flavor pops up, you can have it. Or next time you go to this party, you can give in. Or next time somebody brings these donuts to the office, like you can have one. And sometimes next time felt too far away. And so next time sometimes turned into later. Like, hey, it's 8 a.m. Like later you can have a donut. And then you swing by later and you're like, all right, I made it a couple of hours. How about later and later? Then the next thing you know, by the end of the day, they're looking kind of dried out and picked over and like half eaten. And they really don't look that good anymore. So making it through these like one moments at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, one Christmas season, like one seasonal moment at a time is something that was very helpful for me. And then, you know, like I said, future you is going to be a lot stronger than current you who's being tempted in the moment. Like just reassure yourself, like those foods have been there before. They will be there again. Like you can have it later. Only like tell your brain later, but we know later can't come, but it helps you get through in the moment. The next tactic I'm going to share is probably the most controversial, and one that I would caution you to be very careful of, knowing yourself and kind of being honest with yourself about what triggers you and how certain things are going to affect you. But it's one that was very helpful for me in the beginning. And, you know, several years ago, I was on a podcast and had a conversation with Dr. Robert Sives, who is a brilliant doctor, but also like really speaks a lot about food addiction. And I will link that podcast down below. And if you want to continue to go on a deep dive with this, like in that podcast, Judy Cho and I really discussed with him all of his best tips and tricks that helped me in order to overcome a lot of my issues with food and my relationship with food. So that's another deeper dive you could go down. But one of the things that he talks about a lot is utilizing bridge foods. And a bridge food is like, okay, well, we're not eating ice cream anymore. So instead, he personally would utilize like sugar-free Jell-O. So to break his ice cream habit, he would have sugar-free Jell-O, and that was a better option. It's not a perfect option, but it was one that like helped him to mentally satisfy that craving, but then also not have the food that was like gonna be so terrible for him. And I say to be careful about this because, you know, I'm somebody who like thought I was using bridge foods with like keto treats and keto chocolates early on, but I would tell myself like, it's keto chocolate, so you're allowed to have it. And then the next thing you know, I ate the whole bar of the Lily's chocolate and had dipped it in like a half a cup of natural peanut butter, and it caused a lot of the same mental spiral. So you have to be careful about that kind of stuff. For me though, the way I used to have a pint, my husband and I, after the kids went to bed, pretty much every single night, would each eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And so there's this moment of like sitting on the couch every night and the kids went to bed. And at that point I sat there and like all I thought about was ice cream. And I didn't know how to break that like pint a night ice cream habit, which is, as a side note, people always talk about how expensive a carnivore diet is. And I always say like, do you know how much money I used to spend on ice cream? Like, I definitely spend less money now on steak than I ever did on ice cream previously, okay? But I would take a Diet Coke and throw it in the freezer for like 30 to 45 minutes, and then I would get it out and it's like half frozen and slushy. And I know a Diet Coke's not perfect. I know the carnivore police are gonna come for me, but I will tell you what, having a half frozen Diet Coke was how I was able to muscle through and not have a pint of ice cream in the early days. And eventually I didn't need that Diet Coke anymore and I stopped craving those things as much. And it just helped me be a bridge to break that habit. And Dr. Sivas talks about like maybe it's sugar-free gum or a sugar-free mint, or I use now a sugar-free electrolytes. Or maybe this is the tactic where you like go brush your teeth or something, but it's about giving yourself a little bit of that mental satisfaction without having the really bad thing. And obviously it's controversial because some people are going to have a Diet Coke and it's going to increase their cravings and it's going to cause them to like completely go off the wagon and make things worse. And obviously like we don't want to do that. So I think in some cases, like maybe your bridge food is you have bacon, like you're craving something really sweet. Maybe you have some bacon, or you're able to just replace eating, snacking with something else in general. So be careful of how you're affected with sweeteners, but I know for me originally, and even now, like a bridge food can be really helpful. I'll have a can of sparkling water, or I'll have something that just gives me a little bit of a sweet, like mentalness, a piece of sugar-free gum, and I can go about my day and forget that I'm not like eating a full dessert. But be honest with yourself about how that's gonna affect you. Another tactic that works really well for me and kind of goes back to that like early on of delay is the distraction or just avoid it. I originally started taking a different drive home from work every day so I could avoid the Chick-fil-A where I always got my milkshake from. Or I would go to work a different way that I didn't drive past the gas station. Like, you know, there's certain times when you're driving down the road and your body just like instinctually goes someplace. Like I literally had to change up my commute every day to avoid some of these restaurants or gas stations that were really triggering me and causing me to have this like mental cravings. And the same thing can be said too in your house. I mean, how many times do we get out of a meeting or you're really frustrated or you're just stressed out in your house and you, next thing you know, you're standing in front of the fridge or you're standing in front of the pantry and you don't know why. You know, Dr. Sivas talks about this in that podcast also, where, you know, he would have a puzzle set up at his dining room table where he would literally just, as on his way to the fridge, he would stop at the dining room table and put 2 little puzzle pieces in it. And in that moment, you're giving yourself a little, you know, endorphins boost, you give yourself a little mental win, and you're able to not actually go to the kitchen. Because what we're looking for oftentimes in the kitchen is endorphins. It's something to make us feel better in that moment. And so looking for a way to distract yourself. I will tell you something else I had to do at night, that like sit on the couch and watch TV. I was just so physically, my muscle memory wanted to eat junk. I wanted popcorn, I wanted all these things, and then I wanted my pint of ice cream. And so I literally had to sit somewhere different. Like my husband and I just started to go for a walk in the evenings instead of sitting on the couch and watch TV. Maybe you go and watch TV in your room. You know, during COVID, I got obsessed with like paint by numbers, and I was trying to find a way to like keep my hands busy and not be eating and munching all the time. And I would tape a paint by numbers to the wall. So I had to stand up, and then I would stand there and listen to like motivational podcasts in my head. I would listen to all these like health experts and carnivore people, and I would paint by numbers and just listen to content that would like make me feel really motivated, which is another thing. Listen to podcasts, listen to videos, like something that's gonna help you remember why you're doing this, whether it's health related or just something that's like totally distracting for you. For a long time, I would sit on the couch and I didn't know what to do with my hands since I wasn't eating, and I started crocheting again. Like, I hadn't crocheted since college. And yet, when I first was trying to break this snacking habit, I like literally needed to do something with my hands. Like, a lot of us, when we stop eating carbs and sugar and we stop worrying about food as much, we need to get a hobby. And so that was a huge part of it for me. We started doing puzzles and paint by numbers and crochet, and like we play a lot of family board games now, like things that just always our time used to be consumed by food or baking or meal prepping and all these things that took so much time. We had to get some family hobbies. But I'm telling you, if you expect yourself to be in the same routine as you were in previously, but just somehow hold strong and avoid all of those old foods that you used to have, it's not gonna work. You literally have to change up your physical location. If you're at home and you're really struggling, I go for a drive, right? I like put in a podcast, I go to the sauna, I go for a walk, I go lay in the red light therapy bed, like something, like find a way to literally get yourself away from the food. We had to stop going to certain restaurants for a while. Like, my friends would all want to get together and I'm like, great, I would love to, but here's places I can handle, but this one specific restaurant, like, I just can't handle going there. My mom loves chips and salsa, and so she can't go to a Mexican restaurant she knows I'm gonna eat chips and salsa. And so there may be a period of time where you have to just like avoid being in that circumstance because you know that you're not going to set yourself up for success. Like, don't be afraid to set some boundaries with that. And also, like, really proactively think about how can you distract yourself and just, I'm telling you, there is something huge about changing up your physical location and changing up your routine that can really help you break those mental cravings. Okay, those are 3 short-term tactics. You're having cravings in the moment or in this specific day. Those are ways that hopefully can help you muscle through those. But I will tell you, even with carnivore, right? I've been open like in 2020, I gained some weight back. And a lot of that was because I never addressed like why I was turning to food and where those cravings were coming from. And to me, this was one of the biggest things that I had to do in order to be able to lose the weight, yes, but also to keep it off. Right? How many times we all lost weight and we always gain it back again? So it wasn't until I kind of addressed this was I able to finally keep it off long term. And that is truly understanding where are the cravings coming from. And when you know where the cravings are coming from, then you can implement the tactic that is going to help you overcome it. So we have 2 types of cravings. We have physical cravings, like sugar cravings are not always emotional. They're not always just like weakness. They're physical cravings for sugar. It is your body screaming like, I need sugar. And those are a lot easier to address, okay? Then we also have these like mental, emotional, I'm stressed, I'm grieving, I'm happy, I'm lonely. Like, those are the things that are a little harder to address. But understanding like, am I having these cravings right now because of some type of emotional response? Or am I having these cravings right now because of a physical need for my body? If you are having these physical carb cravings, it often can be because you are not giving your body enough energy. Now, when you first switch to like keto or low carb or carnivore, your body can have a lot of those sugar cravings because we're burning off all of the sugar on our stored sugar. So that's pretty normal. You kind of go through this detox period. And we are like, you might have some increased cravings for a little bit as you like burn off all that stored sugar. But if you've been doing this, I hear a lot of people saying that they are been carnivore for a while, and then after a few months, the carb cravings came back and they can't understand why. And they're like, maybe it's because I had an artificial sweetener, or maybe it's because I had there's sweetener in my toothpaste. Like, okay, to me, that's a little, you're majoring in the minors, okay? Worrying about like the sweetener in your toothpaste is a little bit of, I think, a misdirection. The reason why you can be getting those carb cravings after a while on carnivore is because your body is needing energy. Your body has 2 energy sources, right? We can use carbs or fat for energy. And so if you are not giving your body enough energy, which for carnivores, that's fat, then your body is gonna say, I need energy. And what is the easiest quick burning energy source? Well, that's sugar. So if you've been doing carnivore for a while and you all of a sudden start craving carbs again, I would think that it's because you are not giving your body enough energy, which means you're probably under eating, specifically under eating fat. And so first thing I would do if you're having a bunch of cravings is that's where I would eat the bacon. Like, give your body some type of energy. Have bacon, have some chicken skins, have some fatty ribeye. Like, give your body fat, and it's gonna help address those physical cravings. And this is why, like, this whole other video, but people who are feeling so terrible on carnivore and then go back to carbs and say, wow, I feel amazing. Well, it's because you likely have been starving your body from energy by eating too lean or just under eating in general, because the meat can be very satiating, or you just don't like to eat fat. Well, then if you've been starving your body from energy and then all of a sudden you have some carbs, your body's got a bunch of quick burning energy again, you're gonna feel amazing. So, not saying that's the only reason people add carbs back in, but that can be a big part of it. So address the physical cravings first. You're not gonna muscle through those cravings because it's your body screaming at you that it needs energy. So don't make it harder on yourself and give your body some energy and see if that helps. And fat doesn't cure all of our cravings. Like, this comes to the second point. Some of our cravings can be coming from our emotional relationship with food, from the comfort that we found in it when we were growing up, and these emotional moments, and it's this euphoria of, like, literally you're getting this dopamine spike from having these sweet, toxic foods that we're eating in the moment. So don't make it hard on yourself. Address the physical cravings, and then if you're still experiencing cravings, okay, then it comes the much longer, harder term work of understanding, like, do I really just need somebody to talk to? Do I need to find a physical outlet for my stress? Do I need to reduce my stress? Sleep is a huge part of it. Like, your body is not going to be able to handle emotional stress if you're not getting good sleep. So making sure that you're sleeping properly and your emotions are regulated, like, where are you at in your cycle? Part of this goes back to physical. If you're constantly getting cravings for sweets at certain parts of your cycle, you might just be lacking some fat, or we might just be feeling like some anger and stress or crankiness or whatever that might be. So when you identify, okay, where are these cravings coming from, then it's something that, like, do I need to just, like, go for a walk and take a bath and decompress and give myself a me day? Or do I need to spend it with family because I'm feeling lonely, or grief? Do I just need to sit in this grief for a while? And at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a lot of these emotional issues, like, at some point, like, this is the part where we have to decide how are we going to handle those things. And sometimes you just got to suck it up, but sometimes we have, we need to reach out to others. This is where a community can be helpful. You're feeling isolated, you're feeling alone. I think those are things that can be helpful, but you got to know, like, where are those cravings coming from, and just expecting, like, I'm a perfect carnivore, why aren't all my cravings going away? You're not broken, okay? It's not going to fix everything. We have to still do some of that work ourselves. If you're feeling lost, if you are feeling kind of isolated, I do have a community where you can come join with like-minded people. I post daily for motivation, right? To hopefully help you feel inspired. We set really short-term goals together to help us achieve some long-term success. And share meal ideas, and I do live streams and all that good stuff. This is not a plug for that, but the point is, find yourself a community or resources that can help you learn how to address some of those more emotional cravings. Let me know if you've used any of these tactics, if you have any other great ideas, what else helps you to just muscle through and avoid the carb cravings and falling off the wagon in order for you to feel your best and achieve your long-term goals. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.